Tim Sika. I am so excited to welcome Tim to the show. Got a lot of movies to look at this time. Welcome, Tim Sika.
Hi, Kim McAllister. How you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Busy week. I thought July was going to slow down a little bit, but man, in terms of movies, oh my God. Like you say, we've got a lot to talk about this week, but I think I'm only covering about half of what is actually opening. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
your first movie you've thrown our way is called Longlegs.
Longlegs. Yes, it's a
Mm.
horror movie. Yeah, it's directed by Osgood Perkins, who is the son of actor Anthony Perkins.
Oh, okay.
Who was in Psycho, right? He played Norman Bates, the iconic
Hmm.
crazy killer. And in this movie, Longlegs, Nicolas Cage, the guy never sleeps, I swear. He's in everything. He plays this elusive serial killer by that name, Longlegs, who's being hunted by the FBI. And in particular, this semi psychic agent, played by Micah Monroe. And what the rest of this is about is kind of beyond me at this point. My producer who saw this movie with me after the screening we both attended, he answered when I asked him what he thought of it, because I was still thinking about it. And he said, well, it's as if, a Stanley Kubrick protege made a horror movie that was a cross between Seven and Silence of the Lambs,
Hmm.
which is actually a kind of a good way to sell this movie to any serious horror movie buff. But I think that yeah, I mean, I think the description is accurate to a point, but I also think it's generous because whereas Seven and Silence of the Lambs, unsavory as they both were in their content, both those movies possess more overall, I don't know, resonance. And Longlegs in that department comes up relatively empty.
Hmm.
The movie has its merits, to be sure, but the script's not one of them. And whatever strength it has lies in its conception and execution. It's quite confidently slow. And I like slow films. This one kept me reasonably glued to it, but it failed to amount to anything much. And frankly, anything that resonated. Much of the film was confusing. A lot of it was left unexplained, and when it was all over, I'm going, well, was that it? And this is the other thing. I love slow movies, and I like slow paced movies, but this movie's slow pace never really delivered the 1-2 punch you want after having been so patient.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I just the film's distributor Neon is beginning to develop this imprimatur of artsy horror movies. They have a slate of them coming out this year, and this one appears to be one of those. But at least for now, if I had to choose between recommending this one or telling folks to skip it, I'm sticking with the skipping it. It
Oh.
just it just somehow it just somehow did not add up to much. And again, it being as slow as it was, you expected more of a reward for your patience.
Yeah.
But when it was all over, you're going, oh, okay, well, it was confidently directed, that's for sure. The director obviously, felt sure about this material, but I forgot about it like an hour after I saw it. So,
Oh, no.
yeah.
What about this one? Dandelion.
Yeah, this is an interesting movie. It's an indie feature. It's written and directed by Nicole Regal. And like the next one after this that we're going to talk about, National Anthem, it's a very personal movie and a movie with a good deal of meat on its bones too. It's the story of a struggling singer songwriter, marvelously played and sung by an actress named Kiki Lane, and she's trying to make a career for herself as a singer songwriter while balancing the practical realities of everyday living. So this movie is, in contrast to Longlegs, about something.
Mhm.
It's a movie about success, what it means to be successful. There's, the success that the world tells us success is, which is fame and money, basically. And then there's, in my opinion, the deeper meaning of success, which is just doing what you love for the sake
Mhm.
of it. And it's also a story that presences that age old conundrum of art versus commerce. The great film director William Friedkin famously said about working in that world. He says, well, it's called show business. It's not called show art. So, the movie explores that in its own way. And it also depicts how sex and being in a relationship can sort of add a bit and in some ways harm your own creativity. There's lots of really nice musical performances in the movie. And I also liked how the movie showed, it's interesting, the movie showed how a woman's reasons for possibly abandoning her artistic impulses, how they might be similar and different than a man's reasons for abandoning his artistic impulses. So that's interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen that in a movie before. So there's lots kicking around in Dandelion, and it's very sensitively directed. The writing is insightful, and I found it to be, I'm trying to sum this up here. I found it to be a story that reminds us that the beauty of art in its expression is in its expression rather, and that there's really nothing to be won per se, but it's the journey and it's the process that are important when we're creating something, and therein lies, the beauty of creation and the appeal of this movie. So I liked it. I thought it was good.
Okay. Dandelion is on the list. Where do we see this? Is this in the theaters?
It's exclusively in theaters. Yeah, I was reminded that repeatedly that it is not going to be on VOD, that you have to go to the movies. Okay. You have to go to the theaters to see it. Yeah, yeah.
I like a good coming of age drama, and that's what this is. National Anthem. I haven't heard of this one.
Yeah, it's opening today in theaters, and speaking of personal films like the last one, Dandelion, we have another really good one with National Anthem, which is it's one of the most original coming of age tales I've seen in a while. Certainly this one sticks out in my mind for reasons I'm going to discuss here, but it's directed by first-timer Luke Gilford. It's his first film, and it's about a 21-year-old guy played by Charlie Plummer, who that's not him in the poster, but he lives in rural Mexico, and he works as a construction worker to help support his little brother and his alcoholic mother. And he joins a community of queer ranchers and rodeo performers. So this movie has elements of LGBTQ plus culture. It's got elements of the Western movie genre and the cowboy movie, and elements of the coming of age drama, all kind of rolled into this kind of original package. And the way in which it's shot, the way in which it's performed, it plays like this poetic and lyrical fever dream of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and community too. I found it fascinating because I never knew that there was a queer rodeo circuit or that a subculture community like this existed. So watching this movie was like, and I love this about movies. This is one of the great things that movies can do. It can introduce you to a world which you may have no knowledge of, no experience of, that you never knew existed. And it can invite you into that world. And so watching the movie was like being invited into that world and experiencing it firsthand. And what we discover, unsurprisingly, is that this world is like any other world where humanity is striving to create a community of acceptance and love. So it's a very special movie. It's a lovely, self-affirming movie, very much of the now, especially in light of the Supreme Court's assaults on human rights. We won't go there. And while watching it, the thought, because I love movies and I love classic movies, the thought crossed my mind that this could very well have been the kind of Western the great John Ford might have made had he been living today and attuned to the sexual and human rights zeitgeist of now. So I recommend it. It's called National Anthem, and it's a winner. Very different, but very, very good, and very, very affecting, very emotional too.
In wide release in theaters?
Yes.
Okay. This next one is, I don't know if I want to see this one. I'll see what you have to say. Is Sorry Not Sorry.
Yeah. We've got 3 documentaries on the table this week to talk about. All of them worth checking out for lots of good reasons. But this is the first one, Sorry Not Sorry. And it is a documentary. Yeah, I think I know where you're coming from. It's a documentary about comedian Louis C.K., which briefly goes into why he's considered such a great comedian, but its focus is on the sexual misconduct allegations that were made against him by a number of women, which added lots of fuel to the Me Too movement. This happened, it's been what, it was 2017. So do the math. How many years ago? 7 years ago that happened. And it examines why he was able to get away with what he was doing for so long. He liked to, this is public knowledge, but he liked to masturbate in front of women.
Yeah.
It examines how he was able to successfully return to comedy soon afterwards, despite these allegations. And lastly, it looks into the effects that his return to comedy have had on those women who've come forward. And it's to me, this is a terrific analysis of all of the factors surrounding Louis C.K., his art, the controversy surrounding him, and the current culture in which we live, one which tends to still paint women, the victims, in a bad light, and a culture whose priority and bottom line is the friggin' almighty dollar. And this movie effectively and provocatively does all of this by some fascinating on-camera interviews by some of these women who accused him, who, even though they were not raped or physically mishandled by CK, never really ever consented to having him masturbate in front of them. They interview colleagues of the comedian, some of whom say, what's the big deal? But others who are asking, well, then where the hell do you draw the line with this kind of thing? So it's a fascinating documentary. It's rich, it's fair, it's deeply provocative. And you can see it on VOD. It's via a number of different streaming services like YouTube and Apple TV and Google Play and Amazon Prime. There may be others, but it's a really good documentary. I love how fair it is, and yet, I mean, the conclusions that I came to, and I don't really want to go into this because it's very political, but the conclusions I came to, I think, were the same ones as the two women whose names escape me at the moment. They were the same conclusions that the women who directed this movie came to as well.
You recommend this?
I really, really do. Okay. Yeah. Why don't you want to see it?
Because it icks me out. The
whole
thing icks me out. That's why.
Yeah.
It's one of these things where, and I understand wanting to learn more about something and be, educate yourself on the, what happened there. But if I have a choice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Escaping into a story or looking at the ick. I see enough ick with the news every day. I'm just gonna bypass the ick and go straight to the good stuff.
Yeah, you probably. I mean, I think on Nikki's show, you guys. I don't know, or maybe on KGO. I know this subject has come up so much on radio and on talk radio and stuff. So there may be not anything in here that you do not already know. But I love the way they had put it all together and consolidated and. It was about something, and it reinvites conversation on this issue, which I think we really need to talk more about because, like you say, it's ick. Yeah. I'm not gonna argue with her on that point. Yeah, it is a lot of ick. It's 90 minutes of ick, but it's a good movie. Yeah.
No more wire hangers.
Oh yeah. Faye, yeah. Another documentary about the life and career of actress Faye Dunaway. Yeah, no more wire hangers.
I used to say that to my mom just to try to get a rise out of her. It was horrible.
I bet. And did it get a rise out of her? I bet it did.
Yeah. She'd just roll her eyes and look at me and go, "Okay, whatever."
Okay, yeah. Well, Faye Dunaway, famously starring as Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest. Anyway, this is a documentary about the life and career of Faye Dunaway, or Dreaded Dunaway, as fellow actor Jack Nicholson, her co-star in Chinatown, referred to her while they were filming. And this movie also examines controversy. In the case of Faye Dunaway, that controversy that has surrounded her from day one of being described as "quote unquote" difficult throughout most of her movie career. And she was once famously dissed by Betty Davis on The Tonight Show. Starring Johnny Carson, which you can easily Google. That's a really funny segment if you ever want to check that out. Carson asks Betty Davis, is there anybody you've ever worked with? Because Davis had a reputation for being difficult too, but
Yeah.
she was always professional. She was always on time. She always knew her lines. She never wasted anybody's time, and she didn't suffer fools gladly. But she really like cast a lot of shade on Dunaway in that interview anyway. And there's numerous other examples of that, the Betty Davis incident recalled on camera by interviewees in this movie, like Howard Koch and others who've worked with her over the years. It's directed by this guy named Laurent Bouzereau, who's made a cottage industry out of writing and directing fabulous documentaries about films and filmmakers exclusively for like home video, Blu-ray and DVD releases and such. And I'm just going to say, I love this movie. I mean, as an actor, Faye Dunaway, I think, is matchless. Always have loved this woman, and I love this movie. So entertaining. Dunaway herself was interviewed. She sat for who knows how long to do an interview, which brackets the documentary and is interspersed throughout the documentary, of her talking about her upbringing, her life, her relationships, her career, as well as the controversy about her being difficult. And I think the film,
Interesting. Yeah.
I think the film sort of smooths over. She's been diagnosed as bipolar, which in a way explains stuff, but it also in a way kind of lets her off the hook. I think in a way you can argue that the film sort of smooths over the controversy surrounding her on-set behavior, but I think that's to be expected because I think the director was going for something just to highlight her as an artist and her work. And God, there are so many clips from her movies in this documentary that demonstrate how great a film star she is. And in doing that, he's succeeded. I mean, I'm a massive Faye Dunaway fan. I think she should have been, you mentioned Mommy Dearest earlier. I think she should have been nominated for a Best Actress Oscar for playing Joan Crawford. I think that movie, for whatever reason, I don't think it was designed to be the joke that it is like thought of as today.
Sure.
I think it's a really strong indictment against child abuse. But anyway, I think Dunaway is one of the most vivid of screen actresses. She's not only a classic movie star, but she's such a great actress. I've never forgotten a single screen performance of Dunaway's that I've seen. I always remembered how she looked and how she moved. I mean, that's the kind of actor she is. And the movie presents her as this highly intelligent, she's extremely intelligent. She's quite wise and very articulate, and she's very self-aware. If I were to base all this on this interview, it's like, wow. I mean, okay, she's really assessed her past. She's sort of come to terms with it. She's being honest about it. And I love this movie. So if you love movies and if you love Faye Dunaway, I think you should stop what you're doing right now, go to HBO Max and watch Faye. Really, it's very entertaining.
And Maud says she's incredible. Sorry to interrupt you. And John says if she was a hard actress to work with, it never showed on the films.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, and I think that's why Hollywood, quote unquote, tolerated her, quote unquote, for so long, because in the end, she always delivered. And also, I want to say this too, and the movie goes into this a little bit too, and Barbra Streisand is often the butt of this, of being called difficult or if she was a man, I don't think this would be as big an issue in her life. But because she's a woman, and Streisand has experienced this over and over, a man is a perfectionist, a woman is a bitch.
Totally.
A man is a perfectionist, a woman is difficult. Oh,
it's not fair. It's not fair.
No.
But there's a difference between, as you mentioned, Betty Davis, who you could say was a perfectionist or wanted to get it right and always showed up and was, had her A game on, and someone who just didn't show up to, the set or, demanded green M&Ms in her room. Like, there's a difference in what you call difficult to work with. And difficult to work with, to me, isn't someone who demands, your best performance.
Yeah, right. I agree with you completely. Well, there have been some stories of her. The thing about Betty Davis saying that against her was based on a movie they had made together. There was a scene that had a lot of extras in it. I think it was a TV movie about Amy Simple McPherson, and Davis was playing her mother. Dunaway was playing McPherson, but she kept people waiting on the set, and she wasn't showing up, and she wasn't. And there was a famous thing in Chinatown where after every take she had to have Blistex, applied to her lips, which drove everybody crazy. I don't know. It's open for interpretation, but I love this movie. It's so funny too because I've done a ton of like celebrity interviews in my so-called career. And I used to say, people would say, how do you get these people? And I would just say, well, I just ask them and they generally say yes. But I said, the only two people that have declined were film composer Jerry Goldsmith and Faye Dunaway. Oh. And it's interesting. Well, I don't know why, but there's an incident in this movie that Howard Koch recounts, and he said he called her. She was in Chinatown. He was the assistant director. He said, "Hello, Miss Dunaway. I'm just calling to let you know I'm the assistant AD, and blah blah blah. And I just want you to know, we're all ready for you, and blah blah blah. And is there anything you need?" And she says to him, she says, "Are you a Sagittarius?" And he goes, "Yeah." And she goes, We're never going to get along." And so, so I thought, oh, maybe she sensed on some level or read that I was a Sagittarius, which is why she didn't want to come on the show. Anyway.
So funny.
Yeah, it's so funny. Anyway.
S.J. Lola says, no one would make a documentary about a difficult male actor. I don't know.
Yeah.
Though there have been a lot of talk about difficult male actors like Wesley Snipes. According to Mars, Wesley Snipes in Blade refused to open his eyes in a coffin scene, and they had to CGI his eyes in. I didn't know that.
Boy. Yeah, well, and of course that adds extra money to the budget that was not in the budget originally. Yeah. Hollywood's a crazy place. I mean, I can see it from both sides. And actors have to. It's hard for actors, to be fair. I mean, they gotta bare their souls to people. They're criticized for like emoting in front of people. I don't know. It's a complicated issue. It's not cut and dried, in other words.
So the Faye is on HBO Max?
Yes.
Max,
it's Max. Yeah, I guess it's just called Max, yeah.
So the movie that you will end with is a movie that Nikki Maduro saw a couple of days ago. And she has been going on and on about it. She says we all must see this movie. Oh,
she's absolutely right, Nikki. Great minds are thinking alike here. Our last movie of the week, also a documentary, ending on a bang instead of a whimper, to invert T.S. Eliot here. Bad Faith is this incendiary document which everyone with an earshot should see before they cast their presidential 2024 election ballot this year. It's an incendiary, detailed, thorough, and brilliant documentary on Christian nationalism and the inroads that this movement has made into our democratic way of life and our government. Now, I don't know. I don't want to assume. I'm assuming a lot of people that tune into your show know what Christian nationalism is, but I just want to. It's defined as this political movement that believes that America was founded as a Christian nation, privileging Christianity over all other faiths, right? And they masquerade as a religion, and they're an ideology that exploits scripture and sacred symbols to achieve extremist objectives. That's basically what Christian nationalism is. Kim, I took so many notes when I saw this. The last thing I want to do here is bog the listener down. So suffice it to say that I'm pretty politically aware and I keep up on current political news, but I learned stuff watching this that not only blew my mind and made my toes curl, if that's even possible anymore, given today's noise-based media, but that also gave me a really fair and honest understanding of not only how this movement began in terms of history, but what it's accomplished so far, what its stated goals are, and where this group is very close to heading. I mean, they're within arm's length of taking over the country. And what was so brilliant about it was that its history was so thorough, its interviewees so clear and knowledgeable, that you go away, I went away anyway, with this deeper understanding of what's going on right now. As I speak these words with not only the leaders of the movement, but also its followers, which in one sense actually calmed me down, and calmed me down in the sense that, whenever I understand the dynamic of any situation and it makes sense to me, it makes logical sense, it takes a lot of the negative energy off of that situation, because the understanding for me per se mitigates the negativity, in other words. So it calmed me down in that sense, but at the same time made me quiver with dread and fear for what might happen in this country. And really, I am not an extremist by any stretch of the imagination, but what might happen in this country if Joe Biden fails to win a second term? Let's just leave it at that. So I just want to say, watch this movie, folks, and listeners and watchers of the After Party Live. It's called Bad Faith. I cannot recommend it enough. It is free on Tubi, so there's no excuse, people. Really, stop if you can. Stop what you're doing after the show today and watch it. Just go on Tubi. It's on the website and it's free. I think there's 1 or 2 or 3 commercials, but who cares? It's free.
Yeah,
and you'll learn a lot.
You can also buy it for $1 on Prime as well.
So you can't. Probably if you wanted to skip the commercials. Wow, it's only $1. See, they really want to get this out there, and and whatever. We won't talk about Project 2025. Anyway,
this is so scary. This is scary to me. In this movie, do they offer any, other than going to the ballot box and casting your vote? Do they offer any type of thing for people to do, of action for us to take to make sure this disaster doesn't happen?
I think this movie is so strong in the way it documents what's going on that I think even people, I could be wrong. You asked if they offered anything other than to vote. I think they're banking on people seeing this, and then maybe even those that are on the fence are just not fully awake. I think they're expecting them to go, oh, wow. Oh, geez. Because it's the leaders that are so frigging corrupt and so power hungry. And the people, I mean, you can see that a lot of these people involved, they're really good people, but they're just being led astray. And because of the conditions in which they're living and the information that they're getting and how they're being manipulated. I mean, like I say, it calmed me down in that I wanted to just always shake those people and say, damn it, what's wrong with you? Sure. But I didn't feel that after this. I thought my anger and my rage and my just being appalled is now just being directed towards the people behind this movement who really need to be stopped, really.
It's crazy to me that they want to make Christianity this national religion of the country and cram it down our throats. And they don't either care or realize that this country was founded with a principle of freedom of religion. Well, I should be able to be and worship whatever I want to worship, as long as it's not hurting anyone else.
Right. Yeah, church and state, right? Yeah, I know. But, the film goes into that, too. And it's really all about power for these people. And really basically just turning the clock back 200 years. Seriously. I mean, yeah. But, if you can get, Kim, through and everybody listening, if you can get through the first 10 minutes, because the first 10 minutes I wanted to like throw things at my TV. If you can get through the first 10 minutes, because it's awful. And you have to relive all this nonsense. The stuff that comes after that is really, really strong and really good. Anyway, oh my God, I'm really past my time this week. No,
it's my fault because I went to a little bit late. But let's recap quickly. You have Longlegs. You said it has its merits. It's not the best script. Failed to amount to much. There's a lot of confusion and not a lot left. A lot was left unexplained. And you said it's slow paced, never paid off. You want people to
Skip
it. Dandelion, you said, what a success. What is success? You said the writing here is insightful. It reminds us that the beauty of art is in its expression. You liked this movie, Dandelion.
I sure did.
An interesting movie, National Anthem. You said it's a lovely, self-affirming movie. It's fascinating in this world that you didn't know about. You recommend it.
Yes.
Sorry, Not Sorry. The Louis C.K. documentary, you like that it's fair. You said it's a good documentary, and you really recommend this one.
Despite the Kim McAllister thing of it being an ick movie. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Faye, you loved it. You thought this was a great movie. You loved the way it was made, and you recommend this movie.
Yes.
And then lastly, leading us to Bad Faith, you said you've learned things that will blow your mind. It is a brilliant movie that gives a thorough history. He said it helps you understand what's going on right now. I don't think you only recommend this movie, you're begging people to please see it.
Yes,
yeah?
yes. I'm pleading with people. Please see it. Yes,
please
absolutely.
see this movie, Bad Faith.
Yeah.
Tim Sika, you've done it once again. You come in, you give us all the information we need, and I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kim. We'll talk to you next week, and you have a great weekend.
That's At the Movies with Tim Sika. I have the picture. Here it is.